There's a name, Suter and Rowe. An enormous field here, Will.
And there's a name, Levy, but it isn't Bob, who rode on Speedway and was Australian champion many, many times. Big field here, and a field really enriched by the 2002 world champion, Steve Abbott, from Derby in England.
Away we go, Will. It's a packed grid here at Eastern Creek. There is plenty of racing room out there. An enormous field of some very, very fast bikes. My goodness. An horrendous crash. Well, big dramas here.
So that's out of the Formula 2 class at 76, Craig Bland and Mitchell Clough. And in fact, Clough looked as though he got smacked by the machine.
It looked like it high-sided. It's very, very strange here.
Hooked up with another bike, I think, off the start here, just as people are getting ready. Yeah. In fact, they were bumped by the machine inside them. And there is Clough rolling over towards the outside. The passenger, you can see he's thrown clear of the machine fairly early on, but the machine's intent on getting him. And the Honda Race Safe boys will be needed here, I suspect.
Well, Honda Race Safe vehicle got there within 4 seconds of the impact. That is incredible. So that is a great effort for those teams to know that they have a paramedic team like that.
It took a while to clear that mess and an injury and stabilise the passenger. But they've got away now, and as I say, with Steve Abbott bringing class to this. He's got a brand new Aircom Castrol sponsored Team LCR bike. Louis Christian Racing is sort of the design of machine that they use. He's got a Suzuki engine in it. F1 and F2. F1 says that you can be 1200 cc's, no more than 13,000 revs.
Yeah, that's right.
So they've got piles of power.
And they look fantastic, don't they? You're going to see the Fagan number 23 bike. A lot of these guys have very distinctive paint schemes that they've stayed with over the years. It's great to see Doug Shivers still heavily involved and still up the pointy end of the field.
But not with Margaret Halliday, the passenger that he rode with to several Australian championships. And the lap record here was held by Andre Bosman and Dave Kellett. It was 14 years old until Abbott got hold of it in race 1, and he cut seconds out of it.
And it's a magnificent looking bike to the Castrol entry. Aircom Systems bringing us the Australian Sidecar Championship. These guys, man, they're just so brave, and that was never better illustrated than that crash before. Stephen Hutchinson and Darren Dewhurst from Victoria, backed by AGV and Shell.
And in fact, what the idea is behind all of this is that they want to get some quality in this and get some something for the local guys to chase. For Brett Gilbert is actually behind bringing Steve Abbott out here, and it's a very good idea because suddenly the guys have seen, a new piece of machinery with a guy with all the years of experience that Abbott had.
Look at the shark's teeth on the front of that number 46 bike. Stephen Jones and Jay Buderick from the Seaview Motel, Kangaroo Island. So, wow, you talk about coming away from different places. Look at this. And looking to have a... Oh, my goodness gracious me.
The passenger not daunted, though. He hangs down as he's got to do. They've damaged the equipment, as you can see. And he says, no. He says, look, I'm committed to it, but not quite that much. Let's pull up.
Wow, that was just frightening. It was very much the same situation as the Main Straight crash.
Except Main Straight got bumped in the sidecar wheel, bumped sideways. These are weird things. People think rally navigators are mad. How would you like to be a passenger here? But they're really weird because, obviously, they don't handle the same, work the same in right-hand corners and in left. The sidecar wheel is forward of the back wheel. Obviously, it's only on one side, so they are bizarre things. I've ridden one a couple of times on the road, and they're the only machine where you really don't work in sympathy with the machine. You have to bully them. You have to muscle them to get them to go round corners. Round a right-hander, well, you've just got to try and persuade it around. In fact, if you brake a little bit, the mass on the outside, on the left side, tends to turn it in a little bit. In a left-hander, well, you've just got to push hard on the bars.
Very, very sideways stuff. There's a good little battle developing here between Adam Treasure and Lionel Cornwall, and then a night of Mick Alton and Mark Patterson on the Narellan powder coating Camden Signs machine.
And Mick Alton, we talk about diverse people in motorcycle racing. What did Mick Alton do for a while? He ran a road driver training outfit for Honda. and was instructing people at an old police driver training centre.
These bikes are just on the ragged
Mick Alton
edge.
there, in fact.
They're just on the end. In fact, I'm pretty sure he used to ride with Wendy Grice.
And yeah, and he rides in historic stuff as well.
Dewhurst and Hutchinson now up behind Shivers, that number 12 bike. Amazing, there's hardly any damage at all to the rear of the machine of the Shivers machine. It was involved in that wreck before. Shivers and Matt Johnson, the Shivers motorcycle tyres machine. Hutchison and Dewhurst working very hard. Over the top of the hill they come. The Aircom Systems Australian Sidecar Championship. These guys are brave.
Abbott on 18 with Jamie Biggs from New South Wales with him, with Suzuki power, but Chivers and Stephen Jones on 46, Mick Alton on 9, all got Yamaha power in their LCR outfits.
Well, they start to close up a little bit through the YMF loans. S's just here. The number 9, as you said, Mick Alton, still running down the 38 bike of Treasure and Cornwall on the Aircom Systems LCR. A myriad of different motors. There's no real allegiance to any style of creation. There's Suzuki's, Yamahas, there's Alvins, there's, well, Suzuki's and Hondas, all sorts of things. Even Kawasaki's out there. Good pass around the outside. In fact,
and a mechanical problem there.
I think that's Fagan. Bad luck indeed. The 74 bike too, running very strongly.
Yeah, Lindsay Fagan, a non-finisher.
Ronald Curran and David James. So this is a great looking machine here, the number 38 bike.
Yeah, Adam Treasure, beautifully presented. And the passenger line,
here we
doing
go.
a good job, but it's on the main straight.
Hutchinson and Dewhurst blowing by Shivers. Nice pass. That's where it's frightening if you're a passenger. You're basically sitting with your back to where you're going and well over 200 k's an hour. Just the faith.
I can't contemplate it. I've had guys say, you know, would you like to come for a run? People like Andre Bosman, and they get a sinister look and a smile on their face. And I wouldn't step on one when it was stationary.
Look at this pass, out of the draft, good looking stuff, both the passengers, almost like they're too scared to look. And we know that's not true because these are the bravest people on the planet.
They sure are. They're just getting out of the airstream there. And what a proud family in motorsport is to Chivers, because Doug Senior, the late Doug Senior, unfortunately, a great motor racer, and his son Doug Jr., and family heavily involved in motorcycle sport. 2 wheels, 3 wheels and 4. And Doug Chivers for so long part of the sidecar racing scene in Australia. Had a big break, looks across to check his passenger, as in, are you still there and are you still happy?
Absolutely. It was frightening, that little rear-ending incident that happened going into turn 2. Good news too if you're a West Aussie, if you're over there of course in WA, you get to see all this action up close and personal at Barbagallo Raceway.
Absolutely. Coming next weekend, Neil Chivers was a very prominent production motorcycle racer for some years, very successful in events such as the Castrol 6 Hours.
Look at that.
As we look coming down the straight at this English combo, Steve Abbott riding for Aircom Systems on that brand new LCR Suzuki. Look at how quick it looks under brakes.
It should be registered with the Department of Ballistics because that is an absolute bullet. Look at that. Abbott coming off the edge. Steve Abbott and Jamie Biggs on the Aircom Systems Castrol entry. Then Shivers, meanwhile, still charging hard. Laps are starting to tick by in the Aircom Systems Australian Sidecar Championship. Thank goodness it settled down a little bit. It was quite frightening early, but everyone seems to have their race pace figured now.
6-lap journey, and up at the front of the field is, of course, Abbott, but Stephen Hutchinson, 1 lap to go. He's on 28, but this is a beautifully turned out bike that has been cutting seconds off the lap record and will undoubtedly do it this coming weekend at Barbagallo Raceway in Western Australia for round 2 of the championship. That's how to ride them hard and fast.
You cannot be a lazy passenger on a machine that's moving around so much like this. If you're lazy, you're both going to end up laying on your back because this thing is just rocking at the moment. The passenger has to meet every move to stay in sync with the way this thing is getting up. It very easily picks up that left wheel, doesn't it? Just quite easily.
Do you remember a long, long time ago, motorcycle policemen used to ride around in outfits, didn't they? They'd have one walloper in the outfit and one driving it.
Checkered flag is at the ready, and what a ride it's been from Abbott and Biggs. The Aircom Systems entry, a huge ride here at Eastern Creek. Look at the gap back to second place. Hutchinson and Dewhurst a solid ride for second. No shame for them, Will. They rode very well, but they're absolutely spanked at the bank by those guys out in front.
Anybody who finishes ahead of Doug Chivers has done a good job, as Abbott undoubtedly has done this weekend. Hutchinson and Dewhurst, good second place there. Alton coming in well for a guy who's a historic racer himself and does a fair bit of it as well. Hazelman, Treasure, some good runners there in the finishes.
It took a few laps to get past Chivo. The incident into turn 2 looked like it could have been pretty big, so I hung back a little bit there and just went for it, chased after Chivo. Just used the power of the 1200 to get down the straight. There's no chance of catching Steve in front. Well done on another lap record.
Well, the bike's messing me about a bit at the moment, and it's very difficult to drive through the corners. But I think if it was all okay and the weather was right, we could do another second probably.
So a perfect weekend for Englishman Steve Abbott in the Aircom Systems Sidecar Championship, the F1 Series. Pole position, broke a long